Joshua, can you open up to the agenda? It's going to be 2 times over again. There you go. So, okay, we need to approve the agenda. Everyone take a look at the agenda. Scroll. Okay. Is there anything else anyone wants to add to the agenda, or can we good to approve it? Yeah, okay. All right, move to approve the agenda. Second. All right, all those 4, raise your hands. Okay, 7. Wonderful. All right, go back up. Approval of the minutes from the 4th and the 11th. Everyone went through and took a look at them, right? Okay, is there any edits or issues you guys have that you need to make known?
Or we I typed on it. I don't know if that's what I was supposed to do or not.
Yeah, it's perfect.
What did you type? What did you change?
I don't remember. Oh, I did do it.
Did you do that for both of them or one of them?
I just the first one.
So the
Was that mine or
That's
Thomas.
Yeah.
I think I clarified what happened with.
That's good.
Hold on, we were both on that one.
Yeah, we were both on that.
It was probably me though.
No, it was probably you. It was probably me.
Yeah,
I think what? So, oh, wait.
there was clarification for what happened with the carryover.
Just hit senior changes.
Hit what?
At the top, senior changes. Go down a little bit more. There you go. All right, and then we can see what's got changed. It's got to be okay, and then go down. Scroll down. It's going to highlight it where Scott made changes. All right. Or just won't do that. Just look like a fool. Okay, maybe click the arrows at the top. You see those 2 at the top right?
Oh,
yeah. There we go. Suggest a period. Wonderful. Okay. Again.
Okay, so
All right, Scott. Valuable. Thank you very much for ensuring we're grammatically correct.
I might have left it as a comment.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter.
And then go over that one. Yep. Are there any issue with this? If not, can we move to approve the minutes? All right.
both minutes? Or?
Yeah, both minutes. Move to
Okay.
approve both minutes. Want to make a motion?
Wait, do you have something to say?
I moved to approve both last week's minutes.
And I'd like
before
to
that.
second that.
All right. All those for approving 9/4/18's minutes and 9/11/2018's minutes, please raise your hand. All right, 7/4. Wonderful. There we go. Now we can move on. All right, meeting preparation. We're doing another thing.
Oh gosh. Oh wait, no. I'm sorry. Holy crap.
No, don't worry about it. Take your time. So we can go into meeting prep. So everyone, I hope, looked through the allocation requests. All right, so we're just gonna roll through it then. Caribbean. Oh, first things first though. So like you guys know how I was speaking too much last meeting. So who wants to take on CSE for the questions? Who wants to ask them?
So are we going to split by organization?
Yeah, just by organization.
I like that.
Yeah.
There's 6 organizations and 7 of us.
Yep, there's 6 organizations with 7 of us.
Question.
I think that'll be too much.
Yeah, just assign one.
I think if it doesn't work, then like
Yeah, then sure, but okay. CSE, who wants to take it?
I'll do
Which one?
theater comp.
You'll do.
Okay.
Well, we're going to do CSE first, though. Who
Oh,
wants to
I thought we
take
could
CSE?
choose which one. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
You can in order.
In order. Okay.
Tanya, you got this one, first one?
I can take it.
Okay, so Tanya's got, actually, Tanya's taking the minutes today, so.
Yeah.
Actually, Tanya actually will not be. Someone's getting through 2, yeah. All right, so Cindy, you got the first one? Okay, wonderful. AF Theater, Cornell, you want it? Okay, Chinese. James got CSA. Model UN, you got it. Okay, Gospel Choir.
It's not you, man.
I'll do gospel choir.
Okay, and I'll roll mock trial.
Roll Tide.
Wonderful, and that's it. So that's what we're going to do first. Remember, I may choose to interrupt you again if I feel like you guys are rambling or something's going wrong. Interrupt the organization. Yeah.
Are you part of
Not more. Not going. So, all right. Let's begin reading prep. Okay. Could you open up CC, please? It's the first tab. Yeah, it's in a row. So yeah, you can just open up PDF. Great. Go down to the description. There we go. All right. So they want to hold a back to school bacchanal. Collaborative cultural showcase / mixer between CSC and Black Student Union. We're requesting funding for the various 7 costs in food. All right, can you go up a little bit? So there's 70 people in attendance, and this will be occurring on
Push Friday.
Yeah, we're trying to find the dates.
Oh,
Just
sorry.
up, a little bit up. Yep, okay. 9:20, this Friday. It happened this Friday. Okay. On the Commons Terrace, could you go to the budget sheet? Yeah, there we go. So as you can see, they're requesting for standard fees, audio, visual, housekeeping, security, and setup. Yep, so the only thing I think we need to discuss is external production, food, and food. Yeah. Any comments? Who'd like to start this one off? Scott?
Usually if you're getting a non-pre-approved caterer like those two are, you have to do that a little farther in advance with SABSC. So
I think these were considered approved, were they not?
well, they don't have funding for it, so how
Yeah.
to approve them?
No, like the caterers are approved, right?
Like the caterers are like registered, yeah, and approved
Yeah.
through UBC. They've used Negro
Yeah.
Eatery before. I don't know if they've ever used Church Juice before though.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
Generally, we'd like to see this a lot, like, at least a week out, but because deadlines for the first month are always a bit odd, so we're gonna let this one slide. But,
Well,
yeah, what can we do?
yeah.
Okay.
Churches is a chain.
Church is a change,
It's like
yeah.
not by.
Deal. We're gonna clarify, so one thing that we did have concerns about was that the nearest churches is in DC. So yeah, apparently they've been delivered here. It's on the organization to organize that, it's not our problem. However, if churches cannot deliver all the way out here, they cannot reallocate those funds to whatever food that they want to do. So we're gonna clarify, we're gonna let them know that immediately, because you cannot just reallocate it. I do want to have questions on external production. I don't know why they need it. They got an audiovisual package already. We'll ask the organization to clarify on that one.
So I actually asked Britt about that, I think. And she said that's like a typical thing that they do or what did she say? She said that's like covered on like the planning form. It's documented and it's not meant to be like other, I think it's meant to be like lighting.
Oh,
or so.
okay,
That's what she
well,
was saying, 'cause it's outside.
So that's a commons fee then?
So yeah, that's a comment.
All right, we don't need to discuss that. So it's food. That's the only question we have right now. For 70 people, $500 of food. I mean, seems reasonable. I mean, I don't have too much of an issue with that. Of course, one little thing that I had an issue with was that, actually, I'm gonna let someone else speak for a little bit. Anyone have any thoughts right now? Yeah, about this request, if not.
I mean, I know they're collaborating on this event, but like having such sources like Zoom is, I don't know. Like I understand that it's like meant to represent like the two different kind of cultures of like CSE has like food representative of their culture and DSU has food representative of theirs. Is that necessary? Is it too much though? Really 560 for some 70 people or so? Which isn't like a ton, I guess.
It's not, it's obscene, but.
I don't know.
Do we have like a?
My other question would be the advertisement. I don't understand doing that. I mean, I do understand that the amount is Friday, so I'm assuming they did word of mouth. Social media, but it's also
Yeah. Needs to be
just
open
to
to the
make sure
public.
that like that everyone knows, right? Or can know, right?
Logan.
Yeah.
Is there any way to give them the possibility of having just the circumstance of having a backup for Church's Chicken? Because that eliminates almost half their food budget.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
So the issue is they have that documentation already by this meeting. Because the way that this works essentially is the finance board overlooks what the allocation of money is going towards. We can't provide them that flexibility unless they've already done so beforehand, and then even at that, it's a bit odd if they come in like, we have 5 different things we'd like you to review, which one are you going to give us money for, and we're not here to do the plans for them. They insist upon that one, I'm not going to trample on their right. If they really can get churches out here from DC, props to you, good job, I'm not going to complain about it, but it's their planning, we can't allay bad planning, essentially. Yeah.
In addition to what you were saying, the fact that it's 2 different places, like I was saying, like we were saying, if you divide it, like that's like 563 times plus 250 is like 560. If you divide it by 70 people, that's like $8 per person. So I think that should be fine. The fact that it's 2 different sources.
Yeah, it's reasonable. Yeah, it's not like seeing price for food. Yeah. Of course, we'll need to ask them the role of food and stuff like that. It's just like, are we providing a full dinner? Does this satisfy that criteria? Are we just providing a snack? In which case, I don't know if fried chicken is a snack, but okay, we'll let them clarify that one. But yeah, are there any other issues with CSC/BSU? If not, I think we can. Oh, sorry, I have my one little thing. I told Tanya and Susanna this already. I do have issues that I will be asking them what the purpose of this event is. If they bring up the word recruitment in an explicit format, I'm going to have to start questioning on that one, simply because if every single organization comes in asking for a recruitment event, like specifically a recruitment event, we've already given that for Involvement Fest. I don't think it's this board's prerogative to be funding every single student organization's recruitment events.
You can tell my hair a bit slower.
Okay. Sorry. My rationale is because, let's just say the 240, how many student organizations we got? 270 plus organizations come in requesting, let's say it's not even $1,000 recruitment, $500. We blow through our budget in around 2 weeks then. And I don't think that's a very effective utilization of the student dollar.
Yeah, and also like in general, like the purpose of having events is to like benefit the community. So people are coming out are like, oh, like this org seems like it's really well put together. Like, come on, like, or I'm interested in what they're doing in the organization. Like, I think that in turn and bring people into the organization. But yeah, I would agree that funding a sole event that like recruiting people isn't in our best interest.
But without any other issues, I think we'll move on to the next item. All right, Joshua, can you open up AF? Thank you. AF Theater Company is requesting for their yearly rendition of Rocky Horror Picture Show?
Rocky Horror Film?
Yeah, Rocky Horror Film.
Picture Show.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Rocky Horror Picture Show. So it's $250-300 in attendance. Joshua, can you go down a little bit? Yeah, $250-300 for UMBC students. I don't think there's going to be a charge to people outside of the UMBC, is there? There is not? Okay. Yeah. Could you open up the budget sheet? There you go. They're asking for costuming, props, and then the standard stuff and the copyright to show the film. I don't think we're going to have too many issues with this. I know, Tanya, you had a little thing.
I was just curious.
Just curious?
There were
Okay.
multiple labels on the name of the pumpkin costume, so I'm just curious if it was indeed the pumpkin costume and where our pumpkin comes into it.
Yeah.
That's all. If it is the pumpkin.
Wait, what's the question?
So if you click the link for the pumpkin, there's several different names. I'm not sure if it's like different options for the costume and it's just this is pumpkin. I was just curious what the purpose of the pumpkin was, if it's a pumpkin. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did they submit documentation for their copyright?
Everything's linked, so.
Copyright?
Oh, for the copyright, no, I
Like
have
a
not
quote
seen
for the
anything.
film?
Oh.
They will pay that to somebody.
That's okay, so that is again our rule. If you don't have documentation, it's personally,
You buy a copyright.
how you buy copyright. There's companies who issue
Oh,
the
they do.
rights.
How long do they last for?
Huh?
How long do they last for?
It's for one show.
Okay.
Um,
That's expensive.
Yeah, 6 months.
Josh, could you go up to the top and see when the event is occurring?
October 10, 26, and 27.
Yeah.
6, 27. All right.
I'm gonna give it up.
It's in that case, on one hand, it's like I do not want to have organizations coming in here without documentation. I think it's very important that we have the ability to review them beforehand. But then, on the other hand, I don't want to clog up the finance board's agenda next week, and this is a very straightforward one, in my opinion. I think we can deliberate. What are you guys feeling on this? Do you guys want to allow them to theoretically provide the documentation last minute for this one?
You know, I can reach out to Bozo right now and see if she has it. And maybe see if she'll have it by the time she comes in, which is like, what, 6:30? Something like that?
Yeah.
I'll ask.
All right.
Did they specifically say they were asking for funding for the copyright?
Well, it's on the
Yeah,
budget,
it's on the
but they
budget.
just didn't.
$650.
And it's also on the event planning form.
Yeah.
I just didn't.
It's too small, I can't read.
Yeah. Josh, can you go back down to the budget sheet, please? Thank you very much. Joshua. Wow, keep on calling you Josh.
It's
no,
fine.
I'm calling you Joshua. I refuse to not call you Joshua. So yeah, costuming, etc. I don't have too much of an issue with that. Audiovisual, security, ticket staffing, standard fees. No large issues. One question I do want to ask though, what type of costs are the organization taking on themselves? Of course, we do want, mandatory can't be covered in everything, even though, you know, gotta have a little skin in the game for the organizations as well, in my opinion.
It's not a point of concern for me, but I am curious as to, since this is a show that they put on yearly, like if the repurchasing of costumes is just because of different sizes or like where that need comes from.
That's definitely a question. I think it's listed on there. We can definitely hit on
Should
that.
be the last one.
Yep, it is. So other than that though, I think we can move on to the next organization, which is Chinese Student Association. So Chinese Student Association wants to hold their Mid-Autumn Festival, I want to say next week. Yeah, next week is 27th, which is a Thursday? I think so, yeah. Thursday in the Harbor Cafe. They're requesting funds for food.
Harbor Cafe.
Yeah, Harbor Cafe. They're requesting for food and decoration.
It's the area by the lobby, the piano.
Oh, I was remembering this at Harbor. Yeah, the lobby area.
That's the food and that's the drink and stuff like that. Food, drinks, decorations. In this case, they are in an interesting situation right now as their booking has not been approved yet. So,
When did they submit their? What is it?
well, from ResLife, I think you don't need to pay for it. It's like, can someone elaborate on this one? It's like ResLife has seen the request, but they haven't issued.
They haven't approved it.
Yeah, I don't think you need to pay for ResLife space. So Commons hasn't had an issue. There's no like, you know, that kind of sheet. So I think that's a thing that we will need to consider is that do we want to issue them funding if they don't even have a place reserved yet? Any comment? Tanya?
Okay, sorry. Because the only like problem I could see is if ResLife does not approve the space, and then they are out of luck for being able to reserve the space if they wouldn't be able to see us. So I think that we should just let them know beforehand. Risk it.
Right, because this is scheduled for, tentatively scheduled for what?
Next week, Thursday.
Next Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday, 26th. Yeah, so one of
So they have some time, and Britt said she was gonna look into it. And they would need to book something 3 days out, so they can have it handled by Friday.
Yeah. So for my one concern for this is that, like, theoretically, yes, if we give them the funding and then they don't have a space for it, what is the organization going to do? Obviously, they shouldn't be able to purchase the goods anymore as they don't have an event. And that does, it's like one of those things, remember last year when we had a large amount of money rolling back in? I don't want that. That always gives financial support trouble, and I don't want to see that again. So, in my opinion, if they don't have space reserved, I wouldn't be inclined to pushing them to next week and then going from there. Because we can get the legislation out by Thursday, and they'll unfortunately have to go through the reimbursement process.
They probably
Yeah.
They probably would have gone through the reimbursement process anyway because they're buying this from the grocery store. Nobody's gonna go with them with a credit card to the
Yeah,
grocery
you're right.
store.
Do you know how long it takes for ResLife to approve rooms?
They should have approved this by now. There's something going on,
I think there's technical
like
issues.
technical issues with access right now, I guess.
So what's usually the time frame?
Well, they said that they weren't approving anything for the first, until after the first 2 weeks of classes.
Okay.
And so, this should have been, I don't know how long it typically takes. But it's not like something is stopping them from approving it. They may have a backlog of things, but someone from ECS will check in on it. So.
And we know that they've seen it. ResLife has seen the request.
Yeah, they've seen it.
That was a green check mark, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a green check mark that said that they saw it,
Okay.
but it wasn't like a approve or deny sort of thing.
We should still check with them, see what they have to say about it to their side. I'm in favor of it, I think we should table it next week and get that information.
Alright, well, once we get there, we'll explain the situation to them and then we can deliberate onwards, but I'd like to get a bit more prep done. Next organization is Model United Nations, president of the Washington, D.C. conference. They're bringing 26 people, 25 of them UMBC students. Yeah, to conference, etc. We'll, of course, we'll ask them what occurs at the conference, what they're going to be doing at the conference. Go down to the budget sheet. Thank you very much. So already, because this hotel is within 50 miles of UMBC, university policy states that we cannot fund hotels for them, so we'll be striking that immediately.
You mapped it.
Google Map, yeah, 40 miles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Delegate fee, which is a registration fee, I don't see an issue with. We have funded them previously, so faculty fee, nope. I don't think there's a university policy barring us from doing that. However, I don't think student dollars should be going to faculty to subsidize attendance to conferences. All right, and then finally, the transportation reimbursement of $167.86. They will be driving 4 cars there, and they want 0.54 cents per mile, some calculation like that.
Should be
54 cents.
Yeah. Yeah, 54 cents. Why did I say 0.54 cents? 54 cents a mile. Of course, this is a new form of travel, so we will need to discuss how will we be handling this, right?
How far did you say it was actually?
40 miles. It was the Woodley Park Sheraton or something. It's like a Woodley Park something.
Yeah, it's a Sheraton.
Marriott or a Sheraton or something like that. Yeah. And yeah. So just one, I think we should move. The only discussion that we do need to have is on travel. And I think we can have that when the organization gets here. I do want to get to the next 2. Is that all right, everyone? Yep. Okay. Gospel choir. Sorry, Scott. I know you look like you want to say something right now, but we got 8 minutes of prep left, so I do want to get through these, just so we can get a nice little overview of everything. Yeah. Gospel choir would like to hold Internalized God Night, Ignite. So you guys can read that. Attendance is going to be, Joshua, 100 people. 50 people are going to be UMBC students. I do think we'll need to question the attendances about how they got these numbers.
Yeah. And why is it 50-50?
Yeah, why is it 50-50? So, well, yeah, thank you very much. So, they're requesting for a bunch of standard fees and 2 contracts, I want to say. I think we will do the contracts once they get here, but we need to ask them the standard contract question. So, all right, I'm going to move on to moot court now. Moot court's the big one for tonight, the big fish.
Mock trial?
Mock trial, my bad.
What did you call it?
They
Yeah. All right, moot court wants to send how many people?
They don't want to send them.
Mock trial wants to send 30 people. Mock trial. Let's send 30 people on the competitions this year to represent UMBC for their competitions. Okay. So they're requesting $13,000 from us, I want to say. $13,777. Most of this is going to be hotels. There's going to be some vans, train tickets, and then registration fees. So hotel, of course, we'll need to 50%. I don't think we'll have too much of an issue with that. Travel, of course, is a new form of travel. They're asking for rental vans, rental cars, and for train tickets. We need to have a determination on how we'll be funding those. And finally, the registration fees. Once again, not too much of an issue there. We've funded registration fees in the past. So, Tanya?
That is the one that I have to make sure that they.
Yeah, we do need to double check. Yeah. Tanya, can you want to speak on that one a little bit?
So essentially, Finance Board cannot fund anything that has been purchased by the organization and allow reimbursement before we see them. So if they have already purchased the train tickets, then we will not be able to reimburse if they have not yet been seen by the board.
That was registration.
It doesn't matter what it
It
is.
doesn't matter.
Something.
But, like, yeah, something. Yeah. So we'll need to double check through the documentation, and we'll ask them the questions, of course. Other than that, okay, so we have 5 minutes left. Oh, sorry.
Or breakdown of what these estimates are based off of, like how many members?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
So we'll get into that when they actually get here, but this is kind of just a broad overview.
Yeah.
But yeah, are there any things that you guys want to revisit at the current moment? Scott?
For Model UN, can one of the advisors look up the state of Maryland reimbursement for car travel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think that is where the 54.5 cents came, I think, as like the university reimbursement per mile of like business trip.
At least that was for last year, so maybe they've updated it. But
no, I think that is this year, because I remember, because I met with Layton, who's the treasurer of Model UN, and he was saying that's like the exact one, and then I double checked it and looked it up, and it is 54.5 cents per mile. Because it was like 40 something, or it was a couple cents.
47, I think, last year.
Yeah, it was like
Something like that.
All
Alright, we're good with that one then. Are there any other concerns you guys want to bring up before we see CNC? If not, we can start a little bit before after schedule. Scott, got anything?
No.
Alright.
Logan might have some.
No, this is great.
Alright. So,
Oh, gospel choir. Did we talk a little bit about contracts for gospel choir?
I think when they get here, I
We
think,
have to.
yeah, because it's just like, we'll go in depth into there. I think it's like a Stevenson contract for Stevenson Gospel Choir.
Yeah, that's the one I'm like thinking.
A band or something like that, yeah.
Who is the encouragement?
Well, this one is CSC and PSU, which are there in the room now, so. Alright, sorry, we're gonna do.
Oh, no.
Haters take over whole things, so.
I got it.
One last start doing my heart rates for that.
You're gonna be awake for like 72 hours.
That was the plan, thanks for noticing.
Daniel, can we go back to the model UN request? I'll look at it a little bit. Can you go up?
What do you need to see?
The description?
Okay.
You're messing up my format, I'm just letting you know.
Okay, never mind.
Okay, you good?
Yeah.
If not, I think we'll roll into CSC as they are here now. And so we're going to start off with a round of introductions. So hello, my name is Daniel White. I'm the current chair of the finance board. I use he, him pronouns, and I think we'll go this way.
Hi, I'm Zane Poppenberger. I'm the vice president for student organizations.
Hi, Noni. I'm Carly. I'm the SGA treasurer. I use she, her pronouns.
Hi, my name is Juan Molday. I'm the treasurer for CSC, and I use him.
Okay, do you want to ask the last name and stuff like that?
No, because that's for minutes.
Oh.
That's why I asked that.
Okay.
Wait, what?
Never
What?
mind. Never
I would
mind.
ask what their last names were for the
Yeah.
minute.
No one goes that detailed with introductions. Fuck.
I
You approved them already.
Yeah.
do that, but that's what he was asking me. Sorry.
Aaron, was your name right?
Oren.
Oren?
O-R-I-N.
O-R-I. All right.
Okay. My name is Naja McDonald. I'm the event coordinator for CSC and BSU.
So, my name's Logan. I'm just a student here in the
Yeah.
he, him.
All right, man. I'm gonna tell you, just go with observer.
Observer.
Yeah. Oh, I got you. Yeah. All right. Scott.
Scott Buchanan, finance board representative, DM.
No, finance board representative.
Tori Kinsley, I'm a coordinator for student organization engagement. I'm an advisor.
So Sina, finance board representative, and I use she represents.
Hi, welcome. My name is Tanya. I'm the finance board vice chair and I use she, her pronouns.
Candace Martinez Jones, she, her, hers pronouns. Advisor.
Joshua, treasurer ambassador. He, him.
All right. So we're gonna get started. So you should have received a list of questions before the meeting. Make sure you guys got that one. All right.
Can we let them talk about what the organization does on a daily basis?
It's in the questions. Don't worry.
Go ahead.
I got
Sorry.
you. Don't worry. Yeah. All right. So Sina, I've been speaking far too often now, so we're gonna be spreading it out a little bit. So Sina will be the one asking you the questions. So I'll defer to her now. One little note to Sina. So the first two questions, they're supposed to be reversed. I don't know why for every single organization I messed that one up. So it's just like, tell us a bit about your organization is the first thing. And then, yeah.
And then just the first one.
Yes, and then you just go down the
And
list.
those ones. All right, okay. So, tell us a bit about your organization.
Do you want to speak to this?
Sure. So, the Caribbean Student Council, our aim is to provide a home away from home for our Caribbean students population, as well as to welcome non-Caribbean members and give them an educational look into the Caribbean and what we are, who they are as people, what's going on in the Caribbean, just to be aware of different cultures on campus. And yeah, we try to include every student, so you don't have to be Caribbean to join. We try to emphasize that as well. That's about it.
For the Black Student Union, it's pretty much a similar mission. Just unifying the Black community and also like spreading awareness and understanding of Black culture both on and off campus.
What is the purpose of your event?
So when we came up with the Back to School Bacchanal, we noticed that at the beginning of the year, we were having an issue with like making sure that incoming students, you know, really know what our organization is about and have a good understanding of, you know, our culture and like what we're trying to promote. So we came up with this idea of an opportunity to like, you know, get people to understand like off the bat. We decided to make it a collab with BSU because they were, you know, they have a similar mission. So
Yeah, on top of that, it's also like open as well, so it gives a lot of students that we usually wouldn't reach this early on too, an opportunity to just come outside and just like get to mingle with us and get to know us as an organization. So it's a great way to reach out to students who wouldn't normally come out to our meetings. So large population.
What role does food play in your event?
So I feel like culturally, food is a pretty big deal in African American culture as well as Caribbean culture. So the caterers that we've chosen to go with, the Grill Eatery for the Caribbean Student Council and Church's Chicken for PSU, they're both caterers that really specialize in those cuisines. So
yeah. Has any of the food or contract been paid for already? What time does the event end?
It ends at 9.
9 p.m. Okay. Are any of the contracts to UMPC students?
So we submitted the contract for Caleb Johnson and Thomas Jackson, but that was before we realized we couldn't request funding for student performance. So instead, we're going to pay them out of our carryovers, PSU and CC's.
How did you decide your choice in food?
So like we were saying, well, at least for the Caribbean Student Council, we've worked with Negro for like a lot of our other events. So we have a really good relationship with them. For the Black Student Union, they felt like Church's Chicken would best represent, you know, what they were trying to promote. So.
As well as that, we also made sure to include a lot of certain eating options to make sure we are as inclusive as possible. So yeah, I feel like food is the big thing in our cultures.
Thanks, Christina. So for the how to choose the contracts, since they're not requesting money for it, I think we can skip through that one.
About choosing. Okay. How did you get an estimated attendance of 70?
So we took like the average attendance for both of our general body meetings, which was around 20 to 25 for each of us, and then added in some extra numbers to account for like new members and people that may just be passing through.
Will the DJ be
Same thing. It's like we're not paying for the contract. DJ is your responsibility, guys. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, we already asked the what is the purpose one.
Yeah.
That's already we'll do that one as well.
Can you elaborate on other sources of funding?
So both BSU and CSC have been actively fundraising over the summer and at the start of the fall semester. We both covered shifts at the bookstore. And I know the Caribbean Student Council, we have a fundraiser coming up early October.
Yeah, for the Cheese and Company. So we've been reaching out to local businesses as well to organize fundraisers, and we reached out to local churches as well.
Okay. How did you decide to hold another? How did you decide to hold another event this year?
Okay. So we were a little confused by the. Are you asking?
It's just like so one of mine. It's just like so why like this year you feel the need that okay you need to have this type of event on campus.
Okay. Yeah, it was so at least for CSC it was beginning to seem like a lot of our events were taking place later in the semester, so we just weren't reaching as many people as we would have liked, and we want to make sure that we keep our attendance up at our general body meetings and at our events later on in the semester, so if we get more people involved early on, we felt like it would be easier for us to do that. Same thing for BSU.
What costs are you taking on
Say
yourself? I think
something.
you're
Yeah,
just
there you go. That. You guys pay for it. Just like, you know, something's repetitive, but you give great answers.
Why do you require external?
Again, that was because of the budget sheet. Sorry. This one, there's a couple of things messed up.
How will you advertise this event?
So we've been advertising primarily on social media. Before Involvement Fest in Pangea, we did some order cards to hand out at those events. But yeah, mostly on social media.
How has this event
Never happened before. All right, it has never happened before. Yep, and then without a marketing package, you just hit on it again. They're doing social media advertising.
Is all the cookout food provided by the caterers?
Yes. Okay. Are there other questions for the organization right now? From finance members, anyone? Questions? Joshua.
Okay, so you said that this is almost like an emotional type of event to get incoming students to go to the event. So why wasn't there a larger number of expected attendees based upon the fact? I mean, I heard your breakdown of you took some of CSCs and then you took some PSUs, like general population, and then combined them and added in a few numbers. But if you're trying to reach more of a greater population, why wasn't that number a little higher?
Okay, I can answer that. Hi, I'm Deja, I'm BSU president. So, Bacchanal is the Caribbean population on campus is not very large in itself, and because Bacchanal is not as like popular as say a Caribbean carnival, not as many people know about like what it is. It's very like not necessarily culturally exclusive, but not a lot of people outside of the culture who haven't been around it don't know about it as much. Not to say that they aren't invited or wouldn't come. It's just because there's a small number of Caribbean students on campus, and we added people with the BSU part of the event, but even still, because of our events last year weren't as well attended either. We weren't expecting as many people, so that's why the numbers are so small, because one of the population and two of the cultural impact of the event. But a lot of Caribbean students will come out, but even still, it's not a heavy population.
Any other questions for the organization? Scott?
So is the purpose of the event to like orientate new members to the club, meet the members, recruitment, or is it like for the general population of UMBC to learn about the culture?
I think it's a mix of both, definitely. Because it is an open event, we're looking to reach out to new students as well. We're also reaching out to our Chinese students, so including new and welcoming new members and getting them to know the culture before they might log down. When one organization has like, that's not organization, only going to go to those meetings. You want to grab everyone in there, and we want to keep the people we have. So, that is what we got.
So my question will come from me. So I see you guys have requested from churches, and Candace has told me that the closest churches is in DC. Okay, you guys sure you guys can get this stuff up here, right?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So as a disclaimer, we just have to let you know though, it's just like if theoretically you guys couldn't do that, you wouldn't be able to use these funds to say go buy chicken somewhere else.
Yeah.
Okay, so let you guys know that.
Also, even if they don't deliver, like I actually commute. I live closer to DC, so
All right.
yeah.
So just make this is like so you guys know that I can't. If it doesn't work out, you can't be like, well, we're gonna spend this at somewhere else. So yeah. Any other questions for the organization? Zane, Carly, sorry.
Hi, you mentioned quarter cards earlier, so like where and how has the distribution of that gone?
We did it at Pangea, the Cultural Fest. Hi, by the way, I'm Devon, the treasurer for the Black Student Union. We did it at Pangea. We had our flyers there, promoted it there, as well as in our GBOs. Granted, this is the beginning of the semester, so we only had one, but we had a heavy attendance at the first one. So we were able to promote it there as well. Hopefully, as well with the location of Common areas, people will just be like, hey, what's going on? Like, and coming up, and we can tell them more about the event.
Oh, thank you. I'm sorry. Also, the tables at Commons that everyone puts the quarter cards in, we put them there, and we have a JPEG of it that we send out. We send out weekly emails, and all of our events for that week are always, or events that are coming up are always in those emails and on social media.
Thanks.
All right. If there aren't any more questions, last call. We'll be moving into a period discussion. You guys are allowed to stay in the room. However, discussion will be limited to finance board members only.
Thank you.
Would anyone like to start off the conversation? Do I have to start picking people at random, or do I have to start it again myself? I know I heard complaints about me talking too much. I love talking.
I'll do it.
All right.
I like what they're doing. I like that they're like what he was saying. I'm sorry for mentioning. I like what he was saying, how they want to like get they not only want to get new members, but they also want to keep the ones that they have. And I feel like that's very important to keep our like to keep the students like coming back and staying involved in like clubs and organizations. And I love that they're like engaging and learning more about how the event is like pertaining to like students like trade like how do I say learning about their culture. I think.
Scott?
The only concern I have is that it seems like kind of like recruitment and a thing for current members rather than trying to reach out more to the general population. I would have liked to see an advertising package.
Yeah. So again, the issue that I brought up in the pre-prep meeting, is this the type of we of course support organizations in expanding their membership and they're maintaining their population bases. However, due to the fact that we do have limited amounts of funds, we have $275,000 a year to work with, and if we were to set a precedent, this is the type of event that this SGA will be choosing to fund instead, we're going to run out of money pretty quickly. There are 275 plus organizations on campus, and if every single one of them came forward with this type of event saying we need to maintain our population base and we need to recruit new members, our funds would be gone in around a week or two. And that's what I do want to pose as a question to the finance board.
I don't see this as like a specifically or even primarily a recruitment event because of the cultural aspect and the fact that it sounds like they've thought a lot about location and having it in Commons Terrace leaves it more open than like say at Harbor Courtyard or other places that could occur on campus.
Have you been talking? When it comes to events like these, it's going to happen. The whole recruitment thing, I don't think it's they didn't mention their intent. Their intent is to spread their culture, spread their ideas about like what their culture is like. And they haven't done other sources of funding, so they have made that extra push to do some other stuff themselves. So I feel like this is not really a straightforward.
So on that, Canaldo, I'd like to disagree with that characterization. The organization has said multiple times that this is about reaching out to its organizations. At one point in time, organizations stated that they would like this event so that they can maintain attendance to their other events as well, and also that they wanted to reach out to newer students to include them into the organization. I disagree with the characterization of the organization's responses.
I personally, I understand what you're saying when it comes to that, but with these type of events, it's kind of like within it. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like it's gonna happen technique. So if I think we're borderline micromanaging at this point. If we're kind of like looking at, oh, they're doing a little bit of this, so we should do. Like these type of events where they want to keep their new members, their returning members, and they want to get new members, of course. But I feel like with that, they're giving a different type of aspect with food, with their expressing their culture, the way they have marketed themselves throughout campus. So I feel like I understand your point with the whole thing with recruitment, but I feel like it's embedded into it. It's not a whole intent to do it.
To build off Daniel's point, but it's a cultural organization. They're going to have cultural aspects in the event if they're recruiting.
So would you say for every single cultural event, because there's been places, there's been events in the past where cultural organizations have gotten some recruitment, but it wasn't their full intent, and we fully funded them on some of strategies, I think.
So, Kunal, what I think, like currently, what Scott and I feel is that while the organization did state about the cultural education and stuff like that, I do feel that recruitment plays a larger role than in what there's other events for, Carnival, etc., which is another event CSE holds. The majority of that event definitely cannot be characterized as recruitment. And as a byproduct, certainly, people are inclined to join CSC. However, this one, with the way that the organization has described the event and the rationale behind the event, I don't think you can give them that same type of clearance. However, at the time, I'd like to take a straw poll, if that's all right, because...
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, but Tanya, if you'd like to speak.
I was going to say not to like call anybody out, but I'm interested in what Zane and Carly have as perspective on this.
What would the straw poll be about?
I mean, it's just like if we'd like to just simply move on to a vote, that's very simple. It's just like if we'd like to move on to a vote, we can freely do that and then choose to vote.
Yeah, I just had a question, and I know you stated it earlier, but like on the principle of like this type of event, you're just saying in terms of like financial?
It's, while certainly if the finance board had unlimited funds, if we had $1 million pot, this would be very easy to pass through very quickly.
Yeah.
However, the finance board has already chosen to expand spending in certain other areas, and this was a new type of event, I feel. In previous years, the finance board hasn't oftentimes encountered events such as this, and we will run into issues, I think. And I do not want, I understand the finance board is first come, first serve. However, is this the best way for us to be utilizing this talent?
You know, it's just, I kind of think you can make that argument about like, I mean, I think it's a fair argument in terms of like financial, but I don't know if that's like the best justification, because say if then like, if every organization was able to go to a conference, would we fund conferences and registration fees? Because then if all 270 organizations want to go to a conference, we would also be out of money.
And I think what I'd like to emphasize onto this is that, like, sure, if every single organization came here requesting money for conferences, we obviously wouldn't continue at our spending levels. We'd have to modify our precedents into reducing support for them so that all student organizations have a fair shot.
It's true.
I feel like we're almost pigeonholing this request by calling it, like trying to classify it as something different than what we've seen before. I feel like this is like kind of just like a common thing amongst especially cultural organizations of just like kind of having these events centered around food and like respect, like obviously advertising for the culture. And while it is at the beginning of the year and like, oh, it's only a couple weeks after Involvement Fest, it's going to be recruiting for new students and stuff, and typically we haven't funded that. I mean, technically last year we funded like 2 or 3 small events in the week leading up to ASA Jump the Night. That was the similar effect of trying to advertise for their larger event, and they make it sound like they, CSU in particular wants to advertise for this, like kind of gearing up towards like Carnival, or at least getting people interested early on, so that more people will potentially come out to Carnival in the spring. Or is that when it is in the spring? Carnival? Yeah. So I feel like this, like I feel like I don't want to say we're thinking too heavily on this, but I think we're taking this a little deeper than it needs to be, and I'm in favor of fully funding this request because I think it's kind of essential to supporting student organizations and how they portray their culture. I think this is just like a student org event that ought to be supported.
Okay.
And also just like as a side note to draw attention to the collaboration effort, which we say that we want to promote.
Yes.
I agree with Carly. I feel like we're definitely like reading way too like we're reading too much into it because I feel like all the other culture clubs, their main point is to recruit. I mean, they might not come out and say it, but their whole point is to, it's not their whole point, but their main point is to get themselves known and to get new members. So I kind of feel like it's not fair that we're holding them specifically to it because I feel like if we're going to hold them to it, then we have to hold all the other culture clubs because that's the main point.
And I feel like it goes into part of like you get new members in order to educate them about their culture, and that's what a lot of the big cultural events are about anyways. Like this is our culture, showcasing it and educating people about it. So I feel like this just like draws into that as well.
Okay. So shall we take a straw poll? Who's ready to move on to a vote? Do you have the last thing to say?
Can we go back to discussion to have them elaborate on the cultural aspect of
We
the
can have a
question?
clarification.
A clarification period.
Yeah.
Discussion is what we're in right now. Scott, do you have a question in mind for the organization?
Just can you elaborate on the cultural aspect of the event?
I'll talk. Okay, so one example I like to give is the body bacchanal. So back when people from the Caribbean and also Creole people in Louisiana started like mingling, this is like a little bit post-slavery, and their culture started mixing, they had a body bacchanal where they would bring a collab basically of both cultures of Creole and Caribbean cultures, and there were like a lot of like fusion dishes, and it has a lot to do with how the culture has formed today, even up here, because now there's a lot more like seafood, different types of like Cajun seafood that's incorporated into like Caribbean dishes. So the whole event around the world is like rooted in like celebrating culture. They do food, and a lot of Caribbean culture is celebratory in general, like Carnival, Bacchanal. Most of it is kind of celebratory in general, not necessarily. Bacchanals are usually thrown for like celebrations of successes. One of the successes being we're in college, we're here, and then another year. Like so, so it is inherently celebratory, but there's a lot of like cultural dances, cultural music. We were even talking about like we have a step team. Like there's going to be a lot of like display of culture, a lot of music, and just elaborating on it. Yeah. So like it's an event that's been like historically like cultural in collaboration, fusion, celebration, and I feel like because the CNC was a little more dormant last year, in a way, having a bacchanal is celebratory of them like coming back and trying to revive, like you guys said, like our old people will bring people in and show people about the culture. And the name in general is pretty interesting because people are going to be like, bacchanal, what's that? And there's going to be like food that they've never seen and stuff like that. That'll automatically, because like you guys said, the location, it'll automatically draw people in. So, yeah.
Okay. Does that answer everyone's question? Okay. I'd like, can we move to a vote if anyone would like to move for that? So, move to. Someone needs to introduce it.
Did you have something you want to say?
Oh, are we not doing it?
You guys get to vote, right?
Yeah, I mean, I
was mine made up, so.
Move to approve CSE.
Okay. Any second?
Second.
All right. There's a move to approve CSE for the amount of $1,088.00. All those for? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All those against? 2. 1, 2. All right. So you guys have been funded for $1,088. Carly will be stepping out with you to just discuss about like how you guys felt about this meeting and next process steps. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Yes, Thursday, yes, the 22nd.
Yeah, no, that's
Friday.
Next Friday.
Friday, sorry. I don't know what days.
Let's get them to your night.
All right, and then we have them coming up in 6:35. Coming here.
So I want to make a slight comment regarding Scott. Just like comment with leading discussion, so I felt like pulling recruitment out of them was very much directed. Does that make sense? We shouldn't be leading that out of them. It should be if they bring it up, they bring it up. If they're not, but it shouldn't be programming ideas into their head because they're probably going to answer how they think you want to hear. Does that make sense to everyone? So I know it was an issue that was on the table, but I don't think we should try to be finding the issues. It should be issues that if they're brought up, they're brought up. Does that make sense to everyone?
You're saying leading the witness?
Yes. No leading the witness.
I brought it up from the first question. I don't understand your point.
I think it was asked multiple times what the intent was, and it felt like it was what I heard from all the questions, and it wasn't just you. I just wanted to make sure everyone was listening to me. It wasn't just you. It was multiple questions in the room that were asked. What's the intent? What's the purpose? So we asked the same question more than once, and it should have been kind of finished with the initial question of what is the purpose of the event. And so it just kept getting brought up, and I think we were looking for them to say recruitment, and then it was finally like directly asked recruitment. And I appreciated everyone was like back and forth with it. It was a good conversation that you all had in discussion, but I just want to throw out there that we shouldn't be leading to find reasons not to fund orgs.
Does that make sense?
No, I can put.
One hand, I agree. On the other hand, we do have to pick up these.
Oh,
questions,
I
right?
agree.
That's the thing.
I like either better way of asking.
Yeah.
I think that like they're like, well, is it for recruitment too? And then of course any org is gonna say like it was brought up yes. I don't think that one yes should be like, well, like hear them out completely. Kind of I think how everyone kind of discussed it, and I'm not debating an opinion on yes or no, this was right or wrong as far as funding. But you know, everyone can add like look who was brought up, like they are the terrorist versus they could be in this room, which is I would definitely agree more recruitment as courses in public. So just weighing those sort of things, just versus a yes no answer that we're looking for. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's just like theoretically, let's say in Montague, we ask them how far away is downtown. Like that's we do have to have a big.
Oh, I agree. You have to have precedence. You have to have your card. I was just stating when you ask multiple times the same thing, they're going to be like, crap, they're looking for this answer, and they're going to give it to you maybe for the reasons that are different than what you're looking for.
I felt like you were like intentionally looking for flaws. Like before you even said that, I was like, I feel like you were trying to like catch them up or something. Like I felt like you were purposely like wanting them to say recruitment so that we can like,
you know, that's how it at least came off to me.
Me too.
So
No, I would.
So I agree that you need to be looking for those things. I just don't want to be leading because then that's going to go back to other groups. Does that make sense?
If you're talking about recruitment, the student org was like, is recruitment a bad thing?
No, it's certainly very good. It's just my issue with like is finance board the one to
Is
do
it like
that.
prior?
Yeah, that why
No,
we're
I understand. I completely understand what you're saying.
Oh, all right, so AF Theater Club, thank you for coming early because we're running a bit ahead of schedule.
Hey!
All right, so AF Theater Club wants to have.
Yes, I just sent it.
Great, awesome.
We just sent a quote to the copyright company and they shipped it back to us within 24 hours. That's what they said. The number we got from that was so constant.
Do you know where it's from?
Criterion.
Cool.
You just want to like double check that it's we trust you.
All right, so welcome to Finance Board. This is your first time here?
No,
I was here this year. We've seen you before, but this year around.
This year will be my first.
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna do a round of introductions, and I think I'll start. Hello, I'm Daniel Webb. I'm the current chair of the Finance Board. I use he him pronouns, and we'll go this way.
Hi, I'm Dave Hoffenberger. Sorry, I'm the Vice President of Student Organizations.
Hi, Tony. I'm probably socially the SGA treasurer.
I'm Hannah Wilcove. I'm treasurer of a theater company as she her pronouns.
I'm Andrew Grabowski, president of AF Theater Co. Ethan. I'm Logan Atkinson. I'm an observer. Ethan pronouns.
Scott Buchanan, finance board representative, Ethan.
Canal Finance Board Representative, pronouns
Tori Hussein, I'm coordinator for student organizations, and I am an advisor here, and she works.
Christina, finance board representative, and I use she her pronouns. Hi, welcome in. My name is Tanya. I'm the vice chair for finance board, and I use she her pronouns.
Candace Martinez-Doan, SGA advisor, she her pronouns.
Hello, Joshua, first year ambassador.
All right. So you guys should have received a list of questions beforehand. All right. So Kunal will be the one asking those. All right. So the questions will be coming from him.
Second question first.
Yeah. Second question first. Also, Kunal, if you feel that a question has already been answered before, just like elaborate why you feel it's been answered, and then just get to it. Sorry, Cecina, I should have told you that. It's like this question was just whatever was copy pasted out. So, all right, Kunal. Sorry, Kunal. One thing though. So, Carly, you want to talk about the quote? So the way the finance board works, though, is that without an actual quote in front of us, like that's been approved by the company, we can't actually allocate funds for that. So we're happy to go through the rest of the requests. However, I think if you do want to request funding for the $650 for copyright, we're gonna have to push you to another week. Yeah, just letting you know.
Take a quote from a previous year.
I don't think that's
I don't think so. Yeah.
We put in a request for a quote, but it might take until tomorrow.
Yeah, so it's just like, I know this is in October, so I think you guys have a little bit of time.
Yeah.
unfortunately, this is the way the finance board works, because we can't have people who are like, don't worry, we'll get you a quote later, man. So, yeah.
If we do end up having to push it to another week, can we also talk about, we went to an event planning meeting and asked basically if we could use the recital hall for the final night of tech, just to get another one day and practice in the space we can bring it on. And they had no issue reserving it. No student work is in there, and we got it approved on 25 Live, but they did mention that it would increase the cost of the event a little bit, and we would need a commons technician there.
Okay.
We wouldn't need front of house staff.
Possibly some security, like student marshals.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure on that, definitely a commons technician. I need to be there in space.
Okay, so this budget form that we have is not up to date then, with all those additional costs?
Not with that.
Okay. So I think what we can't do for you is we're going to run through this request right now. We're not going to have an issue with the commons tech or security, right, everyone?
Yeah.
No, there's no large issue with that one. So we're going to run through the rest of your request, and we're going to have you guys send Carly an updated budget form with the quote for the copyright, as well as the commons tech, whatever additional costs were with that one. Then next week, I think we can just do general consent for that one, and you guys won't have to come in.
That's great.
Yeah. So I think that's the game plan. You guys good with that? All right.
And
So
we'll get some sort of notification. How much
yeah, you'll get an email from me on Wednesday morning saying, or Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday. I'm not going to put a deadline on it myself, but Wednesday you'll get an email from me. This is what you've been allocated and breakdown. But yeah, all right. Of course, you guys are free to send a member. Not technically required, but you know, we
Will
always
we
like to see
need,
it.
for the commons tech and security, will we need documentation for that, or?
The event planning form should be able to
Would
include
it
those.
be, have you talked with Richard, like, would it already be updated on Basecamp, or?
One of us will send her an email. If it's updated on Basecamp, would you guys be able to access it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we can just we'll just roll through that.
Okay, so it's really just the copyright that we need to search.
Yeah.
Everything else is generally good, and I'm like let it go back to Kunal now. So.
Tell us a little bit about your organization. In general.
I can start, yeah. So there's a handful of theater organizations at UMBC, and AF sort of prides itself on being the one where things that don't fit into the other organizations can happen here. Particularly stuff like doing a shadowcast of the Rocky Horror Picture Show. It's not exactly doing a musical, it's not exactly doing a play, it's a celebration of a cult film that a lot of people at UMBC do love. We also think that it gives students a great opportunity to express themselves. Rocky Horror is an old film with a lot of weird things in it, and a lot of people like to celebrate that by like coming out. In terms of like varying sexualities and diverse backgrounds of people, there's something that everybody can sort of celebrate with this event.
What is the purpose of your event?
So the Shadowcast is something that we do every year. It's very much a tradition. The whole midnight Shadowcast with Rocky Horror is very much a thing. As Andrew said, it's a cult classic. It's something a lot of people have taken up. So we do ours every year around Halloween. And Andrew sort of already touched on it with Rocky Horror. It's just a great way for people to express themselves, to perform in something that they really wouldn't get the chance to do anywhere else. It's really fun for the audience. It's just a lot of fun all around. It's a great way to sort of throw off societal limitations and norms and just kind of be weird for a night and have a lot of fun with that.
So for other sources of funding question, your organization selected me. Can you elaborate on what you guys have done?
So we do have some money in our carryover account for some fundraising. So essentially by that it's just if there's something that isn't covered by you guys for like shipping costs or anything like that, carryover would be our other source of funding.
And what costs are the organizations taking on?
What do you mean?
Like, I want to skip that question.
You guys pay for anything right now, etc. No.
In the past, we have done our own funds for stuff like costumes. Like, there's always a lot of people who would need like heels or like a corset or like something that represents a particular character. We're hoping this year to get that from SGA money because it's always a recurring expense that comes up.
Okay. All right. Can you give us a timeline of the event?
Yeah. So auditions are tomorrow night. After that, and the show's cast, rehearsals will start. Just in classrooms where we can find. In terms of performance space, we have the Fine Arts Recital Hall on October 26th, and it starts at 10. We do a pre-show, we play some games on stage, we do a raffle, and things like that. The movie itself starts at 11:59, we say, so that people get the date right, effectively midnight. And after that, when the movie's over, the event's over.
Okay.
This year, like I mentioned before, we are hoping to get into the space for the last night before the performance itself, because last year it was our first year in the recital hall, and a lot of cast members had never been in there before, and it worked fine, but having a rehearsal where people can at least get accustomed to like how much they can move around would really help out.
Okay. You guys mentioned the auditions with the performance. I really meant to ask about that. But
I mean, it's just like how they like. You're just going to be playing them essentially, and then taking the ones you like for auditions.
Yeah. So first we pick MCs who are also directors, and they have a say on who gets cast, as well as any board member who isn't auditioning themselves is saying casting. People come out and they'll perform, like, they'll essentially replicate bits of the movie based on which character they want to audition for, and then we have a meeting and decide who would be best placed. Everyone who auditions can be in the show. Obviously, because there's only there's a finite amount of leads, there's a finite amount of people who can play leads, but everybody will at least get to do stuff in the ensemble instead of like the time work.
all right. Is there only one performance day?
Yes.
How did you guys estimate the attendance of 250 UBC students?
It's based on what we've had in the past,
Okay.
generally a pretty full house, and seems to be the estimate.
What will the money you gain from non-UBC students be put towards?
I realize they're not charging UMBC students, non-UMBC students. Apologies.
No, it's church condition.
Yeah. Our theater musical theater had a charge, so we
Josh, can you go to the budget sheet? Did they mention marketing?
We have the $250 marketing package.
Okay, so that's what for the purchase, are you buying in store or will shipping have to be first?
Probably online.
Okay.
Like I said, any shipping would probably be too much carryover.
Okay, and this is probably no science question. About the pumpkin costume?
Yeah. After like looking at the link, there's just like a lot of like words in the title for the costume. I was just curious, like, is it the pumpkin? Is it something else?
It's a pumpkin costume. Our theme is, we've always sort of had like a loose theme running through. So it's sort of like hokey Halloween type thing. So we just want to have someone in the pumpkin costume at random points throughout the movie whenever we can, because it would be funny.
Okay, cool.
Last question. Since the show is performed yearly, anyway, do you find that costume finding to be difficult, or depending on how?
So it depends on how the cast changes from year to year. Sometimes somebody playing one role will be like a similar body type of somebody who played the previous year, and you can reuse costume pieces. Some of the costume pieces belong to the club. Others that have been used just belong to whoever actor played them, so they aren't with us anymore.
Okay.
So definitely some difficulty for some characters, others not as much. There are some pieces that we consistently run into trouble with, like any men that need heels. That's just not a super common thing.
That's why the heels are on there. But if you go to that link, they have a specific section for men's heels, because there's a point in the show where 2 or 3 guys need to wear heels. Corsets can be hard to find. Corsets can also be expensive, so we did want to put that in there just for anyone in the ensemble. But we probably prioritize the leagues for that, because there are certain leagues that need to wear corsets at some point. Really just so that we have them, and like that way they would belong to the club, they would be good to reuse, but like we could actually get them for people that can't get them themselves.
Awesome.
Right. Okay. Are there any other questions for the organization?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe so someone else can go if there's another question.
Scott?
For the costumes and other clothing items that you are wanting to buy, will those fit anybody, or since you haven't cast anybody for the roles yet?
Yeah, we're waiting to pass the link for the corsets. There are a couple of different sizes. So we're waiting until we cast until we actually see what our costume needs are. We did want to put the budget so that, we may end up getting 10 corsets, we may not. That is definitely a higher, it might end up being an overestimation. But yeah, that website in particular, there are several different sizes, so we'll see who actually needs them and then go from there in terms of figuring out what size they would need.
Not reflecting something that's being requested, I did have a question for, I guess, Candace.
Sure.
But, sorry, there's a lot going on in this question. So you mentioned a raffle as part of the event. What are you raffling?
So it varies from year to year. Last year, I know we raffled some like merchandise that we found based on the film, like old action figures and things like that. We raffled occasionally like involvement in the show. I know this year we're looking to. There's a recurring joke where we had a cardboard tree that's been in every AF theater production. This year we want to raffle off
the opportunity
to be the tree on stage, things like that. Major.
It's stuff like that. That's pretty much the general idea. It's not going to be, we're not asking for SGA funding for anything that we're raffling off. It's generally stuff that we can sort of, like maybe someone already has like an old poster that they're willing to raffle off, or we'll like get our carryover to like pay for that, or like events or something that doesn't actually cost anything, like being a tree.
Right. My question for Candace then, just because there's reference present, does there need to be a gaming permit?
Do people have to pay for the raffle tickets?
In the past, yes, that's what we've done. It's not like mandatory, like we said, like no one is charged, like it's completely optional to participate in a raffle.
You can come see the event without buying any raffles if you.
Just so you guys know, Baltimore County, for raffles, if there's a charge for it, they require a gaming license, I believe. Candace will find it out for us by the end of the meeting, so it's just like, don't worry, we're going to get you guys up to speed on that one, but it is considered a
Okay, good to hear.
Just want to like give you the opportunity to have that latency.
Are there any other questions for the organization?
I have a question about the copyright. You said you used the same quote from last year. Is it also the same company that you used?
Yes. Yeah. And the new quote that we requested was from the same company.
Okay. I was scanning through our email trying to find the quote from last year. I could find the form. I think it had the price on it.
Yeah, and we prefer the yearly updated one.
And yeah, the updated one makes more sense.
Yeah.
Anyway, so.
I'm sorry I didn't reach out to you ahead of time for that. I should have caught that before like y'all come.
And this, like, us acquiring copyright ourselves is new because in the past that's always been done by SAB. Since we moved to
way ahead of it than we were last year. We don't talk about last year.
Since we moved to Rosetta Hall, we're the ones who've had to go through criterion to request copyright because SAB is no longer co-sponsor or running the event.
All right. Are there any other questions for the organization? If not, we can move into a period of discussion. You guys are allowed to stay in the room. However, this time period will be limited to planning board members only. So, okay. All right. Well, would anyone like to lead discussion? Carly?
Yeah, that's fine. This is great. All the standard kind of costs that they would absolutely need for the event. I like how they're trying to plan ahead with getting props and costumes so that they can be used from year to year because it is a yearly event. I'm trying to be like inclusive with that. I love how it's like a no-cut like audition where everyone can be like a part of it. I think that's really awesome. This event is always super successful every year. I was unable to go last year for I can't remember why, but this is a great event and they're doing everything that the purpose of their club does, and that's super. So I'm fully funded.
So my only, sorry guys, I'm being the stooge, like, all right guys, about the future though. In the future, it's just like, if y'all who remember who were here last year from at the court, this was at the end of the year, I think the Steel Magnolias requested a rather large amount for various costuming and props. At that time, we were, of course, asking them to reduce or self-raise any of that. Because it's early in the year, we technically don't even have to face that issue right now. However, I'm always a strong proponent. All right, organizations got to ask in the game. It's I would like to see you guys cover like a fake spider web for just like $6 and just like, all right, this is your cost. All right, thank you very much for helping us out, etc. Because I know in the future we're going to be asking organizations most likely to reduce their own costs. And I would like to set this off early rather than making this an unexpected thing in the second semester.
Or what we could do is we fund as much as we're willing to fund and how much as we would normally fund without necessarily requiring or asking them to or cover costs on their own, and do that up until we run out of money and don't feel like we have to pressure and like cut back on things to like give more orgs money, because it is on first come first served basis. You can submit a request as early as you want, and I don't see a reason why we should have to like cut this, especially since they're planning ahead and asking for events or props and costumes that they'll be reusing from year to year. And while we don't typically think of like things as like being more than a one-time use, I think this is like
totally fine.
That's a good point, Dana. That was just my.
Yeah, I would like to second.
All right.
One second, I'm sorry, I was just so much
All right,
typing.
would you let Scott go first then?
That's fine.
Okay.
I was confused what happened to the copyright since there wasn't documentation.
Copyright, so we're gonna be pushing them off to next week. They'll go through general consent, which is they don't need to come in, and we'll just everything that we approved today. Then we'll also tag on the copyright as well as the additional commons fees.
So we're just
And they'll
discussing
pass
today.
that.
We're not voting. We're
Yeah.
just discussing.
So are we just getting rid of the copyright? Or we
No, we'll come back
You're
next
not,
week.
you're not gonna really vote on.
We're not.
We're
Yeah, we're not.
We can just,
Okay.
All right.
So I also want to say I would typically agree on the spider web thing, but again, I see the point of like being early in the year and first come first served basis. However, to counter all of that, I would like to say these corsets are super freaking cheap.
Yo.
So the amount that is saved by getting these corsets, I can spend $6 on some spider webs. I'm sorry, like you don't know the spending of these things, or I'm assuming you don't know the spending of these things.
One person before you got me on that one, Tanya.
Yeah, it was like $20.
Yeah, like I don't know. I applaud you for that. So. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So we're comfortable maintaining a full amount, and I'd like to take a straw poll then. If we just stop.
One more thing. I don't know how corsets work. I heard they came in different sizes, and that they're choosing sizes based on the casting. Do all the sizes cost the same, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
From what I saw on the website, yes.
All right then. So take a straw poll, fully fund AF Theater Company next week. All those for fully funding AF Theater Com next week, please raise your hand. All right. 6. Okay. And then all those against? Sorry guys. I hate the spider webs, but you're not gonna have to. But all right. So AF Theater Club. We'll see you guys next week. You guys, no, we're actually not gonna see you. Don't come. So
You may come if
you
you
can't come. You guys are allowed to come. However, it's not required, and we'll just get a general consent you guys through and go get information on these
We
things.
also might end up buying 10 courses.
Okay.
Daniel, did you say that was 6 or 7?
Scott has
6-4.
Scott has something.
On the vote.
Yeah, 6-4, 1 against.
Okay.
All right, Scott.
What if the change for the copyright changed? What if the
They'll
updated
be
version?
submitting the new budget.
Yeah, it's in the budget, so we'll just.
Okay.
Yeah, we
But
didn't consider.
no new line items?
Yeah, everything.
Yeah.
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 everything else is
Social security.
Yeah, the standard. Save 1. Oh, we'll get you guys by next week on Wednesday.
Just because they haven't received.
Thanks so much.
Is what I still gonna post.
Oh, last thing though, Candace will send you an email on the gaming
Yeah,
permit.
you can do
Oh,
an
email
email.
by
I'm not
next-
gonna send you an email. You need a gaming permit
Yeah.
to do that.
How do we do that?
So it's $125. And yeah, like things like raffle, like it's a Baltimore County thing. So it's $125 and it has to be submitted a minimum of 14 days prior.
You know, can the permit be in the name of the,
Have you done this raffle before with SUV?
That's it, cost us 1 month.
I mean, honestly, here's what I would say is, even though they're not co-sponsoring with you, say, we got some feedback from Finance Board about this raffle. Have you done that? Like, how have we been able to do that in the past? Because they're the experts on doing events. We're not. They're the experts on getting money for events, not for planning events.
so could potentially, if a representative from SED showed up?
Here's what I would say. I would say that you probably should talk to Callie Crawford or Jen Dress about, we got some feedback on this from the finance board, some questions about the legality of it. We just want to make sure we have our ducks in a row.
The board is probably gonna have a conversation about that.
Yeah.
So if you don't see it on the updated budget form,
Is there something on there?
There is not.
Yeah, I mean, that's on you about raffles. Like they're not concerned about funding you if you have a raffle. I think where the concern lies is, are you going to give trouble.
Yeah, we don't want like SWAT teams busting down like, give us the
I mean, not right. Like, we don't. We want you to be. We want you to be doing everything on the up and up. So if you said something raffle that brings up a concern, I think it is in. I think that there's a due diligence that has to be done to make sure that we give you the heads up that you need to talk to someone about it.
I appreciate it. The board's gonna have conversations.
Yeah, and just look into it and see what you can do. Like, see if you can do it or not, and if you can do it, how you can do it. And if you can't, then you can't. And at least you know that. So.
Yeah, thank you for making this work.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, I
Carly's gonna talk to you outside about how the meeting went.
Yeah, and I was on this handed in some about what happened.
Paid raffle and a non-paid raffle. People are paying into a raffle. That's different than free entry. Right.
All right.
You could word it like, what percentage of recruitment takes place in this event versus are you using this to I don't want to do that. I didn't get to finish my thought process. So
okay.
I had to write it down.
Finance Board will enter 8-minute recess.
Oh, wait.
That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah.
I want to see the agenda too, if you can bring that up quick.
8-minute recess until 7. All right, get here by 7 o'clock.
Do we turn off live?
Yes.
Yep.
Thank you.
So I'm going to keep this. I'm going to keep this as the
What the job is like.